Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. And once again for this adventure we're joined by Highlander 87 out here. And look where we are folks, we're on this ancient bridge over this little river and we're actually in the lands of Glen Esk at the edge of Tarfside. And for today's video we're about to go and document an abandoned house that we've never seen before on the channel. And yeah, it's a bit of a mad adventure. It's not actually got a road to it or anything. It's quite near the main river, so that's why we're away to head along this way. So look at the landscape here in Glen Esk folks. Look, the last of the leaves is still clinging onto the trees, and there's actually some incredible waterfalls leading down the side of this main road. Basically, if you keep heading up this main road, it would take you to like Invermark and areas like that, and then eventually it just ends. This is one of these roads where it's just one way up and you have to come back down the same road. It's one of these remote Scottish glens. So hopefully in today's video we'll see a little bit of history hidden within that. And abandoned houses is some of the coolest things that we explore. Each of them at a different level of decay, almost gone and forgotten, and sometimes the wee historical details can get lost if these houses get renovated or changed over the years. Yeah, now we're coming away from Tarfside. You can see the hills in the distance, similar to the area we actually explored the far side of the river in last week's videos. We went to a couple of like abandoned old cottages and stuff, so it's cool to have a wee adventure at this side of the river this week. Check it out folks, there's some happy Scottish sheep here grazing the wild lands, and it is pretty cool territory out here. You see so much nature and animals and wildlife and stuff, and then just to find the wee historical nuggets hidden along the way, it's so cool to see. All these old wall lines and dry stone dikes over the land as well, from an ancient time, and that's often when agriculture and stuff was first brought into these lands. Great areas of wild bogland was cleared and drained, and you can still see it today with these green fields. So check it out folks, we're on this wee track here weaving its way through the lands of Glen Esk, and hopefully if we just, now we're passing this big phone mast, if we just keep heading kind of along to the right, I think we'll follow this track in a little bit and then head to the right. Check this out folks, look at this old abandoned bridge here, hidden within the lands here of Glen Esk. Obviously it's not safe to go on nowadays, and just check out the neck of it. Wow, what a scene right here. Yeah, it's been closed for a few years. It used to actually be a way you could walk across. But yeah, it's cool to document that, a little bit of abandoned history on the channel. There's probably been little bridges and stuff over there for years by the looks of things. I don't think that's been the original one, judging from the amount of stonework and stuff. Plus there's been water pipes or some sort of pipes at an ancient time going over there. And yeah, we're just basically going to follow this river now folks, all the way along until we get to the ancient wonder. There is signs here saying no camping, no fires, so it must be an area that folk used to walk, especially when you see the bridge, eh? Yeah. Check out this folks, it's a mushroom right there, growing in the lands of Scotland, and it's beautiful to see the colours often on things like that. Wow, it's always the nature and wildlife as well as the history. And then look, there's like some caravans down in this area, and I believe that's potentially where shooters and stuff would stay if they're at this area doing shoots. I'm not sure if there's any like holiday home kind of setups. Or look at this, there's a wee stream coming down off the hill in front of us. It's like a little waterfall. Exploring these lands is just crazy folks, you never know what's round the corner. And then here we are, a little stream here. It's one of those old stone troughs. Check this out folks, never seen before on the channel. A little abandoned house, and it looks like a wee, kind of had a wee garden and stuff around their house at a certain time. And look at it, there's the outline of the walls. Maybe these trees were planted back by the former occupants of this house. It was most likely a little farm croft here in the land, and we can see remains of like stone outlines and walls. And look, there's been an old gate on here. There is beehives here, so obviously we're coming with respect to like the landowner and the beehive owners here. Check this out, wow! Every week I love bringing you new history that we've never seen before. With things like this, it's just so cool. The character of that, the stonework, the way they constructed things back in the day. Wow, we've seen this at Glen Esk quite a lot at abandoned places. They seem to use that granite and then the cement. And yeah, there's no lot left. See, from last week's adventure, we could see this at the opposite side of the river. And so it's cool to come over here and see what is left from a certain time. Imagine the family living here and going out and in this door every day. This would have been their little farm or their little home for a long time. Yeah, this is incredible. Look at the old walls, they're so thick. The remains of the old front window. And I think this is the old lintel stone here from the top of above the window. Yeah, it's just been a little building here. Wow, this is so cool to see, folks. I can see outlines of walls, and there's more what must have been little farm buildings or little croft buildings. It's super interesting here, folks. Wow, every week it's like a different house. It's always cool just to uncover the wee details as we look around. Check how there's a hole bored in there, and that must have been where the original door frame was connected in. And then you can see how the cement's been to the edge of that. Wow, yeah, it's like visiting planet Earth in the year 3000. It's just as if all humans have disappeared. Maybe loads of houses might look like this one day. Nature takes back over. Certain places that might have been hustling, bustling, thriving, full of activity, one day they just fall silent. Yeah, it's like that building there has continued all the way along. But the construction at this end is further gone now, I would say. And then there's that back wall leading right around, so it's been a proper bit of a yard. And then this here looks even more ancient. At this side where Highlander 87 is, it looks extremely ancient. Look at that, I think that's the old metal part of like a bucket or whatever. Farming history, folks, hidden in these lands. Wow, look at this, it's been like a bit of a scrap heap and stuff. Oh, aye, that's an interesting stone, eh? It's got a massive seam through it. The white line with the quartz. See, an interesting detail I'm noticing with this here. I've seen this with a lot of old abandoned houses. You have the footprint of the building, and then you've got this bit where they've made the foundation level. It's like they've properly landscaped it, and that's what we saw a few weeks ago up Glendall at that ancient house. But quite a lot on the videos you see this similar construction, and most likely this was a thriving farm back at the ancient times of Scotland. Look how amazing this wall is, you can see the proper line of it. And then I'm not sure if like this has been a different time in history, this internal wall here. Even this, the way this is constructed, it's mad. The walls have been thick, but you can see they've fallen down, and it's been so long ago that the grass and stuff's even grown over them. History almost deleted. Yeah, nowadays it's a grazing land for the sheep and the cows. Yeah, there's been this extra little building at the side. It's been a little small holding, or like, it's not been a very big farm. Even here though, you can see how the ground has been levelled and shaped and landscaped, probably at the ancient time when they were constructing this croft. Maybe even back at that time they would be down fishing at the river's edge, because that would be a good way, probably a source of food for them as well. Probably when times were harsh, the landscapes would have been harsh as well. But think back at that time, maybe originally 1300s, 1400s, the land could have been more wild, out and about. So you have to think, like, it's just crazy how much the land around these places has changed, as well as the locations themselves. Nowadays you can see like a pile of stones, whereas at one time it was like a perfectly built brand new structure. It seems to be there's a lot of this quartz seams in the land here. You can see it once again on this stone. Yeah, the walls are proper thick. Absolutely massive.
This is just a perimeter.
Yeah. Wow, what a scene, folks. And look at this, this is bog grass here. You see this in Scotland if there's like proper boggy ground, saturated. And originally when this house was built, none of this would have been like that. It is interesting to see, there's almost like a higher section there at the corner. Wow, this is so cool. And it is constructed similar to the other houses we've seen in Glen Esk at the opposite side. And then at this side we've got the beehives. Maybe at one time a little farmhouse garden or even an enclosure. But also there could have been wooden original sheds here, which is just totally gone now. It's only the stonework that we see after hundreds of years. It's the only thing that can remain at times. And I'm just wanting to head a wee bit further up this track here to my right, because it looks like there could be a mound of stones here by this tree. So when you see the site from this angle, folks, you have to imagine it could have been an original house there, an enclosure from like the 1700s, and then maybe in the 1900s or the 1800s they could have built that newer house at the far corner there, because it's of complete different construction. Looks more modern, and also the stones are cut to more of a fine finish, and granite is quite a hard stone. It is just magical though to see that many wall lines and old parts of what could be an abandoned structure. I'm just wanting to look over here. It is an interesting shape of the land here. Over there at the other side there's so many wall lines and outlines, and that's the side of the glen we were at in last week's videos when we explored some abandoned history. Check this out here, folks. This is the ancient remains of an old lime kiln, and it's incredible. I could see some stones lying here from the far side, but that's what I thought it was, and it is that. So that's incredible. Like, I'm hyped to find it. I'm glad I came over here for a look. I just had that feeling. It's like an exploring instinct, folks. And look, see the circular shape here. At one time it would have been shaped like a massive like acorn with like a hole in the top, and then they would load up their limestone and wood. Well, first they would light the wood, burn it to get a hot fire, and hay their limestone on the top, and that would turn into like a powdered form. Sometimes with these really ancient ones, they're actually built into an embankment like this, and the stones is built around the back, whereas some of the later ones is an individual structure completely above the ground. So I have seen them both different ways, but they used to use the limestone to spread in the fields to increase their yield, but also they would use it in their mortar. When this farm and stuff would have been built originally, they would have had limestone mortar for sure. And it just shows you the original farm area would have been all the way over to this. And it is incredible to see what's left. Some folk would think it was a little quarry somebody had dug, but you can actually see the original construction here, the thickness of it, and it leads right around in a circle. And you can even see the last remains of that here. It's just so cool. I'm hyped to find that, like. And then look at this fungus here. Wow, it's like something you would see if you flew a spacecraft to another planet and you saw something like that. You wouldn't be surprised. Here it is up in this Scottish glen. Yeah, folks, more history though. It's so cool, and I just love to see it. And it just shows you how the lands of Scotland are just sprinkled with history at every turn. No matter where you go and where you look, there's often history from all different eras under your feet. And then up on the hill beside us we can see the Mall's monument. It maybe doesn't come out too well in the camera. It was actually built in 1866 by the Mall's family that used to own much of this land. Anyway, let's head on with this adventure, folks. Look at this old farm. One last look. It's just mad. Real Scottish history hidden in the wild landscapes and documented here on channel for the first time. Now we need to try and head our way out of this place. And I think we're going a different route to the way we came in. Check it out, folks. We've got this mad area here that almost just looks like sand dunes or something, but it's actually grassy hills, little miniature grassy hills just rolling for miles. And that's actually what you get in areas which were heavily affected for the glaciation period. This is all the deposits and all the stuff that was ground in for the rocks. It gets deposited after all the ice melted and stuff. It obviously ends up looking like this. And then years later, stuff grows on it, and then here we are. That's what carves these landscapes. Last week we saw the massive boulders which had been deposited at the far side of the hill, and we were just interested to see there's no actually any massive boulders at this side. So that makes me think when the glaciers were moving over here, they must have been turning and pushing all the heavier boulders to the far side. Look at this, folks. This is what they used to have in Scotland before the road signs, and it's an old mile marker, and this is 12 miles to Edzell, and then look, you can see at this side 4 miles to Invermark, which is up this way. So it's cool to see that, this old mile marker, and it literally is just at the side of the road. It's not even at a junction or anything like that. But yeah, we're on the main road. We're keeping this mission going. We need to basically head along here till we get to Tarf side. The landscape out here is just breathtaking. As the year progresses here, everything's getting more brown and starting to look more wintry. Check this out, folks. We saw the old mile marker back there, but then check this out. Here's a more modern road sign, which is still quite a vintage thing, because they're not like this anymore either. This is cool to see ones like this. It's obviously a hazard triangle to warn you of this chicane here. But that's what these roads in Scotland are like. They're just incredible when you're driving up and down roads like this. It's just amazing. I think a lot of modern cars though are designed to be driven in traffic jams sitting in the town rather than on roads like this. Check it out, folks. We're back around next to the sheep. I was going to record them, but they got a fright, so they ran just as I switched on the camera. We're now back around as far as Tarf side. What a cool adventure it's been, exploring this landscape and seeing a little abandoned property, an old little wee farmhouse just forgotten out here in these lands. And it is cool to video it, so if it falls down or whatever happens to it, folks, it's documented here on the video. And we just love exploring things that we've never seen. To find that wee lime kiln as well, it's cool to put all those pieces of the puzzle together. That clarifies that it was a farm. So yeah, it's proper cool. And then look, we're back around as far as this wee church, which stands at the roadside here at Tarf side. And then the little bridge that we did the intro on, we've now walked back around as far as that, and it was probably only like a 2 mile round trip. And then look, here's an advertisement for the Glen Esk Folk Museum, Heritage and Hospitality, and I think they've got a wee museum down there for like farm heritage and stuff. You can get a copy, so nip in by there if you're in the Glen, folks. And yeah, here, look at this. Before we end the video, we'll take a look up here at the little waterfall, because it is a paradise scene looking up here. Yeah, the way the water flows over that big boulders, the bedrock seam that's no far under the ground here. Probably the most recent time. We were up here when we documented the ROC bunker at this side of the Glen a few months ago in an abandoned cottage. So that's all up this side of Tarf side, folks. Anyway, it's been cool to see what we saw today. We're just about back to the car, so I'm ending it here. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye from me, goodbye from Highlander87. You can check out his channel on YouTube as well, folks. He goes around exploring places as well with like the drone and getting some footage and content that I get on my channel. So yeah, it's a bit of fun. Anyway, see you in the next one.